Okay, so remembering we cannot use our calculator for these questions. Question 5, voters in a national referendum can cast a vote for vote or an against vote. In a random sample taken of 100 voters, 10 cast an against vote. What is the proportion of against? Well, if it's 10 out of 100, proportion, I'll put little, of that sample is 10, 1/10, or 0.1. 30 of the voters in this sample are randomly selected to complete an additional survey. The probability that at least 2 of them are against is equal to, well, the probability that at least 2 means 2, 3, 4, right up to 30. Well, it's easier to take away the probability of none and the probability of 1 from that set, and that's the probability of at least 2. So if we work out the probability of none and the probability of 1, add those together, subtract that from 1, we've got the probability of at least 2. So if P is 0.1, out of 30, that would be 30 C0, P0, and the rest 0.9 to the power of 30. That's for none. 1 would be 30C1, 0.1 to the power of 1, and 0.9 to the power of 29. And we take that away from 1 minus all of that. Well, 30C0 is equal to 1. Remember the Pascal's triangle. This is 4C0. Anything C0 is always 1. 4C1, anything C1 is always the same number, 4. So this is 1 times 0.1 to the power of 0, which is 1. 0.9 to the power of 30. That's just 0.9 to the power of 30. 30C1 is 30 times 0.1 times 0.9 to the power of 29. Now we can't add these unless we've got the same powers. So if I multiply by a 0.9 and divide by 0.9, I will get 0.9 to the power of 30. 0.9 to the power of 30 here, so we can add them, say, well, here's 1 of 0.9 to the power of 30. And here's another 30 times 0.1 is 3. 3 divided by 0.9 is the same as 3 times 10 over 9, so it's 30 over 9. So it's 10 over 3. So we can say that's 10 over 3 flux of 0.9 to the power of 30. If we remember 1 minus. Now, 1 plus 3 1/3 is 4 1/3. And so we're left with 1 minus 4 1/3 of 0.9 to the power of 30. And there it is. A is 1. B is 4/3. C is 0.9. And N is 30. Based on the original sample of 100 voters, find the approximate value of the interval or the proportion of against. Now we've got approximately 10%. But that's going to be 10% plus and minus. 10% plus. And we're going to get an interval, comma. Let's go to the formulas that you're given. The interval is P, which is 10%, minus Z. P in the proportion probability, again at 10%, 1 minus 10%, over N, which is a sample size of 100. So it will be Z, use Z of 49 over 25. So Z square root of P is 0.1 and 1 minus 0.1 is 0.9 over N, which is 100. And that's going to be 49 over 25, 0.1 P times 1 minus P, which is 0.9 over 100. Can't stop there because it's, I know it's, you can't have a calculator, but you see 0.1 times 0.9, that's 0.09. And over 100, the square root of 0.09 over 100 is 0.3 over 10, which is 30 over 100. So what we have to do is change this to 49, 25, 30 over 100. Okay, well, if I times this by 4 and this by 4, I'll get something over 10,000. Then I can turn it into a decimal. So 4 times 49 is 196. 196 times 3 is 588. So this is 588 over 10,000. So I'm running out of space. So let's change the color. 10% minus 588 over 10,000 is 0.058 or 5.88%. And that would be 10% plus 5.88%. So we'd have our interval of 4.12%, comma, 15.88%, and that's our interval. So the answer, if I had space to write this, it's just the next window here. The answer would have been 4.12%, anywhere between 4.12% and 15.88%. And that we're 95% confident that the interval of proportion of against voters are somewhere between 4% and 16%. All right.